Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a wonderful day yesterday. It has been an interesting 24 hours. Um, I did have a doctor's appointment yesterday, but I did spend a lot of that time also going through the prophetic word. And boy, is it chock full of info. And before I go into what I have in the title, Robeson County, obviously meaning the Robeson County Sheriff's Department, the RapidSOS that they use to ping her phone and the death certificate and the anomalies that I found in that, which started on Monday evening. It was like I woke up at 1:30 in the morning and the Lord was just pushing me to look at the death certificate and the PowerPoint presentation once again. And oh my goodness. Well, we'll go over that in a second. But anyhow, a lot of the prophetic word, giving a lot of hope in the midst of a lot of chaos that we see going on in our world today, mostly with the stock market and the tariffs, and a lot of people are just very confused. And I got to tell you, there is a big plan. There's a big plan that God has to free us from the prison that we've been born into, our parents have lived in, our grandparents have lived in, and it's just going to be amazing. So keep the faith. Don't look at the circumstance, keep the faith. That's all I can tell you, and stay in prayer. Stay in communication with the Lord. He will keep you informed and he will maintain you during these changes. Well, within that prophetic word, I got corrected. I got corrected by the Lord and needed to share that with you. And, when it comes to the prophet, it's God speaking to us through his prophets. And the correction I got was, if you're going to speak my truth, no more mocking. Immediately, I knew who he was talking about. And so I have to back off the mocking of John Paul Miller and the FMs. Now, there's nothing wrong with calling them FMs. We know that that's who they are. But, calling them names, idiots, morons, whatever. And there's good reason for that. It's not as if the Lord is going, look, I'm going to protect John Paul Miller. No, that's not the message. The message is he's about to descend down his judgment and wrath on these people. So as that happens, we have to stay obedient. We can't be in the midst of mocking them and making fun of them as that happens. Because that was told very, very, a long time ago. That was prophesied. Do not celebrate the demise of your enemies. So once again, he needed to remind me, do not celebrate, do not mock, do not be in that frame of mind, that heart. Don't have your heart in that way while I'm descending down with judgment and wrath. So I'm taking that correction. I repented, and I'm going to follow those instructions. And so I'm sharing that with you for good reason, because when it does happen, when God does move, you will know why he corrected me and why that correction needed to be made. And that's not just for me. That's for a lot of other people who are on YouTube and, on these different platforms, and they're exposing the wickedness in the church. And the Lord is about to just break that open. And so with that, he's telling us all, no, don't mock. Say the truth, report the truth, leave it at that. Anyhow, okay, let's go into Robeson County Sheriff's Department, RapidSOS, and the death certificate. Now, I looked it over, as I said, Monday. It really was Monday night, Tuesday morning, about 1:30 in the morning, I was up. I just felt led to look at this and re-examine it again. And the anomalies were just amazing. There goes my phone, so let me shut that off. Now, I think I can share it with you. So let me try to do that now. If I can figure it out, just bear with me. Image file. I think I can share an image. Oh, okay. I wish my husband was here. No, that's not how you do it either. I may not be able to do it. Oh, good. Oh, share screen. Duh. Okay, I'm not sure how I can do this. I'm so sorry, everybody. Okay, you know what? I will find a way to show this to you. But if you happen to have those documents, you'll be able to see what I'm going to explain right now, okay? First, I want to go over some details that are very important before I go into the anomalies I found in both the death certificate and the PowerPoint presentation. I looked up RapidSOS, and I looked up how it is, it's a ping that aims for precise location. It's not always exact, but it's typically around, the radius is about 3 meters, which is about 10 feet. Okay, I want you to keep that in mind now. The radius for a ping that's used by RapidSOS is 10 feet. This is what Robeson County used, and this is what they say on their PowerPoint presentation. And I'll read it to you. The telecommunicator utilized RapidSOS to locate Mica. Okay, that's what it says on the very first page of the Robeson County Communications Center E911, and it's on the actual, it was about maybe 9 or 10 pages PowerPoint presentation they gave to the media on May 7th when they finalized what they call their investigation. Now, the other thing I looked up was on the death certificate, it said, this is vital now, so remember everything I'm saying. Unfortunately, I can't show it to you. There was no rigor mortis, none. So what does that mean? Rigor mortis happens within 3 to 4 hours. On the death certificate, it's checked off that they examined her at the death scene and at the hospital. In the same spot where liver mortis notes that it's pink, not blotch, not splotchy, just pink. It's also noted there is none in rigor mortis. What does that mean? I'm in rigor mortis, right? So what does that mean? That means that when they noted down that on her posterior, not her face, not her chest, where she was laying prone in the water, but on her back, she was pink. Okay, full color, no blotch. That means she was on her back previous to them doing the examination at the death scene, and there was no rigor mortis. So it was not done at the morgue because that was at least 4 hours later. So we can now debunk all the stories of, oh, well, they were able to see this liver mortis at the hospital when no, because that's not what it says in the death certificate. It says no rigor mortis, and it says that they did this investigation at the death scene. Now, on top of that, they note that they took photos, crime scene photos. I FOIA'd for them because to date, we're almost a year in now. I've yet to see any crime scene photos. And I'm kind of interested to see what their response will be in giving me those crime scene photos. Because those crime scene photos will show us if there was any biomaterial at the scene. Brain matter, skin, blood, anything. Because if it's not, we have our answer. Now, going back to the ping, I just told you the RapidSOS is within 10 feet radius, okay? And this is what I wanted to show you, and I'm not even sure how I can. I just don't seem to be able to, and I'm really upset about that. You know what? Give me a minute. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. I think God's giving me an answer here. PDF. Oops. Hold on. We might actually be able to do this. Hold on, everybody. Nope. No, that's not it. Oh, praise God. All right. You know, God is so good. Okay. I think we're going to be able to do this, everybody. So let me present. Present and share screen. Mica Miller. All right. And add to stage. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to have to move this over so to be able to present this to you. So give me 1 second. All right. Now we're getting somewhere, ladies and gentlemen. So I wish there was a way I can get rid of this. This is where I wanted to take you. Now, I want to show you something. Remember we went over this how many times last week? I don't know. Here's the slough. If you can see where I'm pointing, here's the slough. Here's where she's found, right? And here, okay, well, this is going to be surprising. This is the ping that they claim they picked up after, of course, the 254 phone call. And this is the area. Now, a 10-foot radius is here. 10-foot radius here. She's over here. 10-foot radius. This is about more than 40 feet away. So that's questionable. Wait, it gets worse. It gets worse. Now, some people brought this up to me last week. I think it was about 2 people. And I didn't look at it. I didn't see it. So whoever you are, please forgive me because it took some time for God to say, you need to look at this again. Now, we ran these numbers. I ran these numbers here. And it lands on that very spot that I showed you above the slough. That's where it lands for Google Earth. But subscriber information, now this is through, once again, they claim, and I'll show you where they claim it, that the subscriber information, Mica Miller at 1281 Princess Anne Road. Really? The coordinates, yes, the coordinates showed this spot. This spot right, this is where that creek is. Okay, and I could show you that again if you want to see. This is where that creek is, okay? That's the slough where she was found. That's more than 10 feet, guys. That is more, that distance right there is more than 10 feet. All righty? I just told you, RapidSOS says that they're pretty spot on, but within 10 feet or 3 meters, okay? Here we go, subscriber information. This comes back on their RapidSOS response. That location and that name and address. Why? Here, let me show you how they said they use RapidSOS. It says it right here. The telecommunicator utilized RapidSOS to locate Mica. So, who's lying? So are you sure? Let's break this down for a second. On the death certificate, we already know that they've made it clear. They examined her body at the scene. When they see this posterior liver mortis, it's at the scene. That means before they found her, and I don't trust them either, Lauren. I'm totally with you on this. It's even worse now. They found that her posterior was not, they would have said blotchy. It said pink. That's the stage before it turns purple. Okay, they did not say it was on her face. They did not say it was on her chest. Okay, so the blood did not pool in the position she was in, which was prone, according to them. We've yet to see any photos, although it says on there that there are photos taken. It says it. And then the ping that they claim they got, once again, let's find that ping. I mean, my gosh, here's the slough, and it's all the way over here. Why would they not do it? Because you want to know, the death scene is going to give more answers than getting that at the morgue, because the blood can pool and move, okay, within the first 3 hours. So it should be noted at the death scene. And according to them, it was. According to them, it was. As I said, if you go and look, oh, I wish there was a way that I could show you that death certificate. Is there, Lord? Is there a way? I'm trying to figure. Well, you know what? It took how long? Almost a year for me to even find it. And it's so small. And let me see if I can even describe it to you on where you can find it, okay, in case you want to go look. Okay. Let's see. If I'm not mistaken, it's the very first page. It is the very first page. It's the very first page, and it'll say on the top, report of investigation by medical examiner. And on the right-hand side, you'll see address or facility, 2819 Princess Anne Road, and right under that, checked off as scene of death and hospital. So she was examined at both places, okay? With that being said, again, I don't even know what page this next one is where I found it. It'll be under description of body, okay? It says intact, rigor, none. Now, again, I just told you rigor mortis happens within 3 to 4 hours. 3 to 4 hours. So if there's none at the time that they're writing out this report, this is being done at the death scene. That means that when they claim that she's liver mortis is posterior and pink, it says non-fixed. So maybe it's partially, doesn't say blotchy, but it says non-fixed. Now, let me just look that up real quick, just for clarification, because we should have it. Non-fixed liver mortis. And I should have found this for you guys before then, but I didn't see it. Okay, this is in the early stages of liver mortis, also known as post-mortem lividity. That's what it means. That's what it means. Meaning it could be pushed away. So when they touched it, it probably was able to move. It wasn't completely fixed, like it would have been hours later. That right there is also a notation. This is at the death scene. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. So explain to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Now we know that at the death scene, without a doubt, the posterior is what indicates that she was on her back for at least 30 minutes. Where did this happen? Where was she on her back 30 minutes? If she walked herself to that spot and did this to herself, did she lay down and take a nap for 30 minutes before doing? I mean, when did it happen? Because it has to be post-mortem. She's not going to have liver, her heart's not going to stop beating, and the blood is not going to pool before she passes away. So it has to be after. So when did it happen? Obviously not at that site. It wasn't at that site. So where did it happen? So this, beyond a shadow of a doubt, shows she did not die in that area. She did not walk through that area and take her life. The end. It just says it right there. Now, the ability to locate her seems to be way beyond anything they're able to do. because here they're claiming to do RapidSOS. They're claiming it, and they're coming back with right above the slough, 40 feet away. Why is her phone or her watch being shown to be about 40 feet away when RapidSOS does within a 10-foot radius? And then comes back with her subscriber information is Mica Miller at 1281 Princess Anne Road. 1281 Princess Anne Road, once again, for clarification, is across the street from Tommy Walter's home at 1274 Princess Anne Road. It's almost 2 miles up the road. I don't get it. Please help me to understand. Now, I said, Lord, why are you showing this to me? All it's going to do is make me even crazier. But again, we've been able to prove there's no way that she ended her life just based on the death certificate. There is no way. Thank you, Melzy. I understand, Tina, if you have, what did you point out? The subscriber information? Well, I know a couple of people said something to me last week about it, and even I just kind of glossed over it. I didn't mean to. I was just looking at the pings and the location, assuming that 1281 Princess Anne Road was a ping. Well, guess what? I was wrong. It's not a ping. The only ping they claim to have done was this one that comes back on the creek above the slough. That's it. And again, this was run, this ping, this RapidSOS ping is run after 254, obviously. Obviously. So did they make the call as they were ready to dump her here? And that's why it got pinged here? Were they in the process and the call was made beforehand? I'm speechless too, just Robin. I'm speechless too. God is trying to show us something. I don't know, Tina. I don't know why they would have this address. It's not even, there's not even a building on that address. It's just a piece of property. And that piece of property, let me see if I can do this once again. Why not? We did it the other day. Why not do it again? The Google Earth thing, right? And let's just do Google Earth one more time. And I'm going to put it here where you guys can see it. All right. And go back to where I can see you. And of course, my glasses don't work that well, so bear with me. Search Google Earth. Okay, here we go. Now, there we go. So here's Princess Anne Road, right? Across the street, right here, sorry. Here's Princess Anne Road, 1281. Across the street, here's Tommy Walter's house. This whole time, we've been focusing on this property, thinking that Mica was there. No, it's coming back as subscriber information, as if she lives here. There's nothing there. Kim, it's 3 to 4 hours, and there was no speeding up. It was 72 degrees that day, so there was no speeding it up. You're talking about 3 to 4 hours, and it said none. That's what they noted, none. So if they noted none, it's none. Okay, so here's that Anne Road again. And a lot of us had believed that she was taken by this creek. She was brought by this Anne Road. A lot of people said, oh, ATVs, da-da-da. Okay. And here she ends up here. She ends up here. And that ping, oh my goodness, what is that thing? That ping that we were talking about. Sorry, guys, I went in the wrong place. She was found here. Forgive me. She's found here. That ping is up here. That ping is up here. After the phone call. I don't know how cool it was. They never gave me a temperature of the waters. I should ask. Maybe I could look at that report again. Maybe it wasn't in there and I got to look again. It wouldn't slow down that much. You're talking 3 to 4 hours. So what is it going to slow it down by maybe a half hour, an hour? Still, there's no rigor mortis. There's none. Because remember the times that the call went in, remember the times that they found her, and yet again, once again, it's not going to stop the blood from pooling. If she's prone, why is there no notation of there any liver mortis on her face, on her neck, on her chest? Why? Because she wasn't in that water long enough. But she was on her back long enough for there to be something. And it's not even fixed. Upon examining, they're touching it and it's moving. If it would have been rigor mortis, if it would have been 3 to 4 hours, if it would have been fixed, it wouldn't have moved. They would have touched it and it would have been fixed in place. So my point is, it's almost impossible for her to have done this at the scene. And what's funny is all the FOIAs that went to Robeson County, and we asked for all records, and not one time did any of us get photos. Not one time. And yet on one of the papers, it says crime scene photos were taken. Where are they? I want to see them now. If crime scene photos were taken. Let's see, is there any biomaterial, or are they hiding something? And once again, if that ping is up here, why are we saying that it's coming back? Ping is here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Subscriber information, though, is at 1281 Princess Anne Road. We know she didn't live at 1281 Princess Anne Road. So what's the connection? What's the connection? They're claiming that they have photos, Tina. Whether you believe it or not is not important. They're claiming it. You know what I mean? Okay, so I'm glad you brought up the FBI. Why is it taking so long? I think the FBI saw this mess and had to start from scratch. I believe they had to start from just like the rest of us did. I think they had to do the same thing. Because either they found some sort of corruption. Remember, there are police officers and chiefs and whatnot being arrested and in trouble in Myrtle Beach or in that area in South Carolina for hiding evidence. So it happens. Remember, didn't somebody just get arrested for doing that? So it's not as if this doesn't happen. And also remember that on the death certificate, they say she did this to herself. How did you know? How did you know? You haven't even investigated it yet. How did you come to that conclusion at the scene? What is it that's at the scene that brought you to that point? If you see the weapon way over here, she's over here, the bullets are over here, and her purse is over there. She's face down, but you can see that there's nothing on the face of the chest and that she's got rigor mortis on her back. You didn't question why, liver mortis rather. You didn't question why there was liver mortis on her back? You didn't say to yourself, why would she have liver mortis on her back if she's prone in the water? How could she have done this to herself? They didn't bother. They didn't bother because they were told what to write. If you read the description part, let me just read it to you. You guys have been listening to this for how long from John Paul Miller about the narrative of Mica Miller, right? Okay, word for word, it is in the description. Let me get it for you. Because I think the first time we read it, we didn't think much of it. Yeah, it sounded like something he may have said on this interview and that interview. But now we're almost a year in, and now these words like ring in our ears, you know? So, oh, Lord Jesus, where is it? Okay, here we are. And the description should be here somewhere. Of course not. Oh, goodness. That's the one piece of paper I don't have. Let me see if I have it on my computer. Oh, I'd have to really look for it. I need the description where they write about I'd really have to look for it. Anybody have it? Does anybody possibly have this? Let me see. Maybe I have it in my email. Mica Miller. You're talking about a year's worth of. Let's see. I really wanted the death certificate. Let me look at my files. I might have it. Hold on. Documents. I'm sorry, guys, that I'm doing all this in real time and you're having to sit here and listen to me search. I wanted to read that description to you because it was word for word, the mental illness, and it was just so obvious that it was like he dictated. Okay, Lord, if you want me to read this, I need you to help me find it. Oh, goodness. I'm sorry I don't have this for you, and I'm not even sure why I don't have it with, I know I have it here on my computer, but I don't want to have you guys sitting here waiting for me to find it. Let me see. Search. Mica Miller. Yeah, I don't have it here in my phone either. That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, justice is near. God is all over this, and they will answer soon. Yeah, I believe it. And I wish I could find, I'm afraid to minimize this page because you guys are here. He had to have. They narrated. It was literally his false narrative of. I mean, they described within the description on the death certificate, word for word, what he had been saying on all these interviews of her being mentally ill and not taking her medication, and then even brought up, I think it was marijuana, and wasn't that not found in her system? But that she had been addicted to cannabis or something like that. And it was as if he dictated what he wanted in that, you don't mind waiting? Okay, let me just, I don't think I'll lose you. I'm going to minimize, no, yeah, I'm going to minimize this. Okay, no, I didn't lose you. I do have a Mica Miller, you know what? Let me do a search. Mica Miller. Oh, no. I have a file on her. And I have a feeling it's going to be on my laptop, Lord Jesus. Oh, here she is. No, that's Mica's song. Would I have it in her song? That wouldn't make any sense. Huh. No. Father God, help me here. I know that I have it somewhere. And FBI, I have an FBI thing here. Let me see if I have that. Oh, Lord God. You guys are so patient, so wonderful. But it's in the description. Let me see if I could find it on TikTok of all places. You never know. Mica Miller death certificate, which is what I need. I need that yellow form that explains it. It has that narrative on it. And it's horrible. I might even have it on my own channel. Hold on. You guys are so good, I gotta tell you. Let me see. I might have them on shorts. Mica Miller death certificate. All right, let's see. Well, these papers have been in my face for almost a year, and now I can't seem to come across it. The devil's a liar. And it's those yellow forms that we've had all this time, and for some reason I can't seem to come across it. If any of you have it, please send it to me, because I'm having such a time. Let me see. Maybe Kristen has it. I have a lot of groups in here that are Mica Miller case investigation. Okay, guys, I guess we're just going to have to deal with that. We're not going to find it. Marie has it. Marie who? Where's Marie? Is there a Marie here? Yeah, I just need the description part where they describe. And I'm telling you, I really feel like he had a hand in creating. And the reason why I say that is, if you remember the announcement, which started all of this. Okay, I'm going to wait on Allie and see if she can find it, because I'm unable to find it. If you can remember back to when he did the announcement, he had, word for word, he was able to say the manner of death, where it happened, and then even claimed that the nurse at the morgue told him, or family member rather. Nobody's going to say this on the phone. Nobody's going to tell that info. I don't care who you are. You have to be there in person, number one. Number two, you have to be a next of kin, a family member, to get that kind of information. They're not just going to, I can't walk into a hospital, okay, randomly, and just walk to the morgue and go, listen, I know Mr. So-and-so is here, and I need to know manner of death. They're not just going to give it to me. Even if I'm standing there with my ID in my hand, there has to be a rhyme and reason for me to even get that information. Now, he never claimed that he went to the hospital where she was. He said all this was done on the phone. And I'm telling you, I believe from all of this information that we have found, that it was obvious, even at the scene, that she did not do this to herself. That they mess up, once again, let me go back to, they mess up, not even questioning, why would her subscriber information come back to 1281 Princess Anne Road? And then on top of that, this description that if somebody could get to me, okay, somebody just sent me a photo. There you go. Thank you, Michelle. Okay. So now they're just, thank you. Somebody had sent it to me. Okay, we're good. Now, in the beginning, they're talking about how they visually identified her by law enforcement through an ID. According to a family member, they tried to call and text her without success. Last known alive by surveillance cameras already that they know that she was seen. I want you to realize this is the death certificate, okay, at 4135 South Highway 41 in Mullins, South Carolina. Now, maybe this was done at a later date, and this is how they knew. But again, I want you to realize what's being documented here. This is a document. This is a legal document. Per conversation to 911 dispatcher at 14:54, in which she asked the dispatcher that dispatcher could see her location. that she had voiced to the dispatcher that she wanted to harm herself, wanted her family to be able to find her. We also called BS on that from the beginning. Law enforcement was notified, began searching for her at the park. At 3:20, her phone was pinged. At 3:33, law enforcement had drone dispatched. At 3:42, Verizon phone carrier was notified for location verification. 3:42, the car was identified. Now they talk about her purchasing at Dick's Pawn Shop. I'm trying to get to where they talk about she had dirt and debris on her hands and her clothing. The decedent was removed from water, brush. Let me see. The decedent was removed from water by law enforcement in a boat and brought to bank on river. Bank of river was muddy and had heavy brush with briars. She had dirt and debris on her hands and clothes. At 1911, what time is that? 7:11, a 9mm was removed from the river approximately 5 feet from the bank using a magnet, the serial number on the, that alone right there. Okay, we're getting to this. Medical records. Here we go. Okay. Medical records, they already got medical records documented. The decedent was hospitalized on 11/29/22 until 12/5/22 on S precautions for bipolar 1 recurrent manic episode, THC dependence, and dependent personality disorder. I don't remember reading that in any of her records, but okay. The decedent was The decedent was hospitalized from 2/7/24 until 2/12/24, secondary to emergency protective custody by her therapist. That's untrue. It was Charles Randall that took her. Medical records stated 2 prior mental health hospitalizations in a previous S attempt with weapon. Records on 2/7 also state Delta 8 gummy consumption. Delta 8 is not THC. An increased paranoia with bizarre behavior. Decedent family did confirm her previous S attempt by firearm. That was not her family who said that. It was Jean-Paul Miller. On April 4, 24, decedent records stated she was seen and given prescription for hydrazine, 25 milligrams for anxiety. Regional pathologist assisted and examined the decedent. Exam was consistent with the report incident. There was no concern for foul play and an autopsy was not warranted. There was no concern of foul play. So they came to these conclusions right away. Now, mind you, they did not bring up her breast augmentation. They did not bring up her reaction to the anesthesia. They did not bring up that she has not been taking these bipolar medications for the past 4 months. She's had no manic depressive, nothing. She was fine. She was working. She was stable. She was able to maintain her life. She was living in her own place. Didn't mention she was in the midst of a divorce. Didn't mention that 2 days prior that she had just served her estranged husband papers. Nothing. How would they know all of that? Because they were dictated all that information. Susan Lee, and the investigator of the year. Thank you, Susan Lee, for all that wonderful information about the boat the other day. Not sure if you know it, but I did a whole show on that, and that is so awesome. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you for that, because that was it was on Saturday morning. So if you haven't seen it, please watch it. It was literally dedicated to you and your wonderful insight on boats being used in the waterway, the creek. So I got to tell you, I absolutely appreciated that. What we're talking about now is that looking at the death certificate again with real, with fine-tooth comb. They're claiming that there was no rigor mortis, so this examination or whatever they were documenting about her condition was not at the hospital, because the hospital was at 8 p.m. Okay. And they're looking at her. They get to her at about 4-ish. This is 4 hours later. Okay. At least. So they're saying no rigor mortis. There was liver mortis and it was unfixed. And unfixed meaning that it was new liver mortis. Like it wasn't something that was sitting there fixed for hours and hours. It was when upon touching or palpating it, it moved. Okay. So that right there tells you that she had been laying somewhere just before being put down into the water face down. No mention of there being any liver mortis on her face, her neck, or her chest. And then they sit there and they say there's no concern for foul play. But remember, we had this with Rashid Carter. Here he had body parts strewn all over the place, and here's a stupid idiot police chief saying, sorry, Lord, I didn't mean to say stupid idiot. Forgive me, not mocking here. There's no foul play, that he did this to himself. Now, in this situation, I know people have tried to bring this to my attention. If you're out there and you hear my voice, I'm asking you for my forgiveness, because I did not see, when I saw 1281 Princess Anne Road, I thought what they were saying was this was a ping. Now I'm seeing that's not what they're saying. There was one ping, and that one ping was right here above. And I think I showed that to you guys already. Right here. We're right here. Oops. Why is that not showing? Hold on. Why is that not showing? Oh, here we go. What happened, Lord? Did I lose that? All right, let me get rid of this. And present Google Earth. Okay. And add to stage. All right. So that ping that they claim, is here, giving the address of 1281 Princess Anne Road, which is 1.67 miles away from here in this direction. Okay, I'll even show you where it's at. Here we go. La, 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 la. It's up here. Princess Anne Road, 1281 Princess Anne Road. Give it to us, Lord. Thank you. Here it is. There's 1281 Princess Anne Road. Here's the ping. RapidSOS, once again, just for recap, says RapidSOS, which is what Robeson County Sheriff's Department claims they used to locate her phone, okay, says that they have a radius of 10 feet. Now, you guys are pretty smart people. Do you believe that this is bigger than 10 feet from here to here? Okay. Look at this here. Just want you to see something. Remember, there's a way to measure, and there is somewhere here where you can measure this distance from here. And we did that last night. And it was like right here was where the ping was, right above this water here. And so 10 feet was about like this, it was like in this area. If you're going all the way over here, it was like 40 feet. So again, why was it being picked up here? I don't know if they messed up on the times. They messed up on the address. Why wouldn't they mess up on the time? They messed up on the scene. They're basically saying in what they found her, in the condition they found her, that she was just placed in the water. And that prior to being placed in the water, she had been on her back post-mortem for at least 30 minutes. But just placed in the water, just laying because it was not fixed, but it was there, and she was not in rigor mortis. So no, it was not at the hospital, because at the hospital there would have been rigor mortis. It was more than 4 hours later. And they claimed to have crime scene photos. Where are they? Why won't you show them to us? I don't know if you guys are just as confused as I am, or, you know, I hate to say, I don't want to accuse Robeson County Sheriff's Department for doing something they didn't do, but boy, how could you not at this point? They have a reputation for being rogue. And now this happens. Now, that doesn't make the whole department rogue. That doesn't make everybody that works there bad. But something happened. Somebody had to have been helping them cover something up. And again, I bring up to you this police chief or sheriff or whomever it was, if you guys recall, it just happened in South Carolina, that just got arrested or indicted or whatever it was for something happened. He had a consequence that just came against him for covering up evidence. So this happens, people. This happens. Why would they be covering up this evidence? Who are they doing it for? And I just read to you word for word everything John Paul was trying to push in a narrative against Mica. And if you remember, it wasn't just him. It was that group of women that were working for him and supporting him, pushing that narrative that she was so mentally ill that she had to have done this to herself. We're to believe that she left her apartment in her work uniform, listening to Dr. Cloud, her hair all braided and done, ready for work, with a sandwich and a drink in the front seat, all to do this to herself. That's what we're to believe. Mind you, she's not even on the medication. We see her singing on Facebook. She seems fine, making plans with her friends. She had plans the next morning to go to church with her friend. She had a hair appointment the following week. Why all of this if you're going to end your life? At this point, and I hate to say it, I really believe that Robeson County dropped the ball. I believe they did it on purpose. The sandwich was in her hand when she went to Chick-fil-A. Why'd she go to Chick-fil-A? I didn't even know she went there. I know, he is pushing it onto her. And there's a word for that, Kim. Is that deflection? Is that what deflection is? That he's really the one who's mentally ill, but he's trying to put this on her? Shauna, can you send me that video? Because I don't recall her, not that I'm saying she didn't, but I don't remember seeing the video of her stopping at Chick-fil-A. Why did she stop there? Was it for a drink? And was it on the way to like the pawn shop or something? And again, none of these actions speak, I'm so done with my life that I'm just going to end it. Nothing. And again, the father also had said, I think multiple times on different interviews, she was getting that. Thank you, hon. She did go to Chick-fil-A first. Okay. That she bought this weapon because she wanted protection. It all makes sense why she would. It's 2 days after. Oh, I see. So it was before she went home to change to go into her work clothes. Okay. Oh, all right. This was before she went home. All right. Yeah, I'd love to see that. Again, it's probably going to show this is a person who's just living her life and doing what she needs to do. No sign of her wanting to end everything, you know. But when I look at the way Robeson County did this investigation, It's not just, oh, they screwed up or they're Keystone cops. This looks deliberate to me. That's my point of doing this whole thing. It looks deliberate, that they deliberately, even though they noted all these reasons that she should have had an autopsy, that there should have been an investigation, they immediately went to, nah, she did this to herself and this is why. And the same, almost verbatim, word for word, is what John Paul was saying the first, 4 or 5 months of interviews that he was doing, trying to push that same narrative. And we weren't buying it because, again, when he put out those medical records, we were able to find anomalies in that as well. So that's why it really didn't float. Most people didn't buy it. So that whole narrative sunk. He totally did not sell us on any of that, like he did all the people there at Solid Rock. The picture from inside her car there was on open to go plate with a sandwich in the gun case. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. The picture from inside her car there was an open to go. Oh, open to go plate with a sandwich and the gun case. Oh, I see. Yeah, and I'm telling you, it doesn't make it would almost be as if she drove herself there. Okay, let's go with it took me a second to read it out. If she really were to believe she drove herself there, we're also to believe that she walked herself all the way back there, no short trip, with this weapon. And when she gets there, she ends herself. Well, then she had to have been laying on her back for at least 30 seconds and then put in the water. So once again, that debunks self-inflicted wound. That means somebody had to have done it. She laid there and then they placed her in the water. It just keeps coming back to that she did not do this to herself. And now it looks like Robeson County totally dropped the ball on this. And I believe that the reason why the feds are taking so long, yes, there's a lot of activity around him that he's been involved with that has a lot to do with this, but I also believe they had to start from scratch. They were not able to use what Robeson County had and then use that as a foundation for their own investigation. No, I think they had to start a whole new investigation to be able to do this. So Allie says, I agree, but we see rogue law enforcement all over South Carolina, North Carolina. The Spartanburg sheriff who hired Trey Gowdy, really? Cherokee County is scandalous too, neighboring county to Spartanburg. Being law enforcement, Cindy Stamper says, being law enforcement, you would think when the body and the weapon was near each other, they would have thought that was off. It wasn't near each other. That's right. Thank you, Cindy. No, that was not. For some reason, the condition of her body, which is obvious that she didn't do this to herself, and where everything was located wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. I'm telling you, I'm starting to believe now with the anomalies I just realized today. And forgive me if anybody out there had seen this before and you're like, Ann, you're finally figuring this out. Well, yeah, because for the longest time, I thought 1281 was a ping. And so for some reason, I had my eye on this creek, and then the Ann Road came into play for me just recently. And for anybody that wasn't here on that day, let me go over that with you if I can, if you don't mind. Somebody kept saying to me on a show last week, look at Highway 74, look at Highway 74. And so I kept saying, what is it about Highway 74? So I'm praying. The Lord's like, use Google Earth for a minute and open up a 1281 Princess Anne Road. So I did exactly what you see right here. And I see Princess Anne Road, and I'm looking at it. All of a sudden, my eyes move over to Highway 74. And I'm like, what is this? So I zoom in, right? And this is 130, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. Yes, it's Highway 130 or something like that. And so that's what you would see coming off of 74. So only really locals are going to know about this Ann Road right here. And if I show it to you on satellite, it's a dirt road. It's a pretty thin dirt road. So now I'm following it. Following it. La, 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 following. And it's about 6.8 miles to this creek that I have been just constantly, talking about and saying, I believe that she was brought. And I started with the story, the narrative that I believe that she was brought from 1281 Princess Anne Road through the creek to the slough. And why? Because it goes right to the mouth of the slough, and that's where the ping was found. But then when I saw Ann Road and I saw the correlation to the 1281, I went, oh, okay, look how close it is. Here's the property of 1281. Here's the creek. Here's Ann Road, right? So then once again, very easily, if you look at this under satellite, let me see if I can find that for you guys real quick. You see nothing. You see absolutely nothing. Look, it's just treetops. Okay, so it's covered. But when you look at it under terrain, this is when you actually see it. So you go, okay, well, Anne, why would they put her in the boat? Because this to the slough is 0.6 miles away. And it was Susan Lee who gave us the indication on how easy it would have been to bring her this way. And why bother doing that? Why? This is all marshland. An ATV is going to get caught, or the potential of it getting caught is in here. Okay? I wouldn't take that risk. Now, would an ATV be used to bring her to this point? I don't know. But to go in this section, in this area where it's marsh, I wouldn't take that chance. You get caught in there and you're trying to bring a dead body here to dump. That's not a good idea. Although these were not smart people to begin with, still I wouldn't do that. So thank you, Chana. So it made more sense to load her onto a boat here and go here. Ping, the ping goes here, and she ends up, this is where she ends up, people, right here at the mouth of the slough, and the ping is right here for her phone. Well enough to get Micah to the slough of the boat. Exactly. They had to have, and that's a good point, just Robin. They had to have known to bring her to that point, locals. And here they would have had to have known Ann Road as well. I know, because if you're just somebody, driving down 74, you're not going to know about Ann Road. And why? I just showed you. Because even if signs were going to say, you're getting off here, I don't know if the signs say Ann Road. I would assume they're going to say 130 because that's what's off 74. This Ann Road is off of the I-30 or the 130. See, it's off of there. It's not off of 74. So you'd have to be somebody who knows this area. Yeah, park ranger, maintenance man. Now, once again, I agree with you. Just Rob, she's a park ranger, would know that place like the back of his hand. Sure. Exactly. Look at the boats that men in Louisiana use when duck hunting. Absolutely. So do we believe that locals were involved? Yes, absolutely. And then now we tie in the suspicious death and the convenient one for John Paul Miller of Johnny Jacobs. And you go, well, it was just an accident. How is he going to know? Well, why was he threatening this man for months beforehand? Why was Johnny Jacobs so afraid of John Paul Miller? because of these threats that John Paul Miller has been making to him. Why threaten him if he's not a threat? You see my point? So I'm just trying to put all the pieces together again. But, looking at what Robeson County and the kind of investigation, if that's what you want to call it, that they did, it to me sounds like they weren't investigating. They were helping. They were assisting him in this, or someone was. Someone was. So if that's the case, they're on the list. And I pray in Jesus' name that the feds come to that conclusion themselves and do something about it. I don't believe Robeson County called the FBI. I think the FBI came in and took over the investigation. And to save face, they said they called on the feds. I don't believe it for 1 minute. At this point, looking at all of this, no, I don't believe it. But anyway, I've had you on over an hour. My neck is starting to get very stiff. But I wanted to share this with you guys. I'm just as confused and frustrated as you are, if you are. But again, the Lord was showing this to me for some reason. And I don't know why, what he's trying to show. And I know there's all these other theories, and I respect all these other theories. But why is it coming back that she was a subscriber at that address? Why that address? There's not even a building there. And if I could just show that to you before I go. Let me just show you what Princess Anne Road looks, 1281. That's it. This is it. There's not a building. This is it. This is old 1281 right here. There's not a building. There's not even nothing. Not even a box. There's nothing. Nothing here. Nothing. Here's Tommy Walter's house right here. Tommy Walter's house right here. See what I'm saying? And yet, so you guys tell me what you think, because I'm interested in knowing. And again, that creek is back here. Let me help you see it. The creek is here. So I had all these months assumed that they took her across this property, because of this address coming up on the Robeson County PowerPoint presentation, and brought her to the creek here. Now I'm changing my mind. I think it's Ann Road. I have no idea why they use this address as their subscriber information. I have no idea. But I have a feeling we're going to find out very soon. And this is why the Lord corrected me and said, no more mocking. No more mocking. I did all my mocking. I've said all the words I had to say. I've called them a moron and an idiot plenty of times. Was it debunked that there were 3 dirt roads right together and one goes right to the slough? No, it wasn't debunked. There are roads right here, this is Ann Road, right? And ironically, this is God Road. Right? Yes, God's Road. So, yeah, and the slough is right here. Boom, boom. This is why a lot of people thought that it was an ATV that took her there. And I'm not saying that it can't happen. Somebody from Florida had come into the chat a few days ago and said, we use ATVs in the water all the time. Now, with Mica, they would have had to have used an ATV with the flatbed to get her there. So I'm not saying that they didn't. Once again, maybe that's why it pinged in this area. I don't know. I have no idea, guys. All I know is she got here somehow. I believe this road was used to get them there. Now, was it by boat? Again, 0.6 miles away? Or did they take an ATV and go straight here? Possible as well. But they got her there, and the ping is here. But the ping is coming back at 1281 Princess Anne Road, which is, again, almost 2 miles away. So that's not making any sense. And then, of course, the condition of her body is not fitting a person who did this to herself at all. Even more so today than it ever did, because of the non-fixed, no rigor mortis, but there is liver mortis on the posterior, none noted on her being prone in the water, prone being face down. Why isn't it on her face? Why isn't it on her neck? Why isn't it on her chest? So there's now more questions than answers. Again, more questions than answers. So that's annoying. But I believe we're going to get our answers. God is showing this to us for some reason. Yes. Well, Ann Road is really there's a house here. And there's, I think a couple of houses here. And then just for notation, this is where that ranger station is, right here. So, guys, I really believe this road is part of the whole deal. But again, I say the water, some say ATV. Let me put it this way. If a full-size pickup truck, which can come through here, even though it's a dirt road, even though it's a small road, came through here, stopped and parked here, and either put in a boat or an ATV, it could be done without being detected. There's nothing here. Nothing. Okay? Not that I'm aware of. I can't see anything. It's all farmland going through all of Ann Road. Okay? This is all like the houses, any kind of buildings or houses stop way up here. So this ends up being all farm. And then it becomes trees around here. Okay? So there's no indication that there's any kind of way that they would have been seen or noticed if they had made any kind of transition to a boat or an ATV in this area. But it could have been very easily done. Very easily. So, and again, like I said, the ping is coming back in that area, both by when I ran the numbers and both by when, according to their map. And it's coming right here. It's coming right here by the creek. Okay, it's those numbers that Robeson County gives according to the RapidSOS is right here by this little round thing on the creek. So that's what leads me to think it's the creek. I don't know if we could trust their times of when they did it or how they did it or when, I don't know if we could trust anything they say at this point. But again, I'd like to see those photos, the crime scene photos. I would like to see it. And I did put out a FOIA, so I will let you know what their response will be. That should be interesting to see if they're going to hide something or they're going to be open about giving it, because they were open about giving everything else. So let's just see what they say. But anyway, there you go, guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being patient with me on trying to figure this mess out. If you have any kind of information or even any kind of theory or whatever that comes to you, please contact me. I'm open to hearing it. But I really do believe that we're 5 days from Passover. And we knew between Purim and Passover, God was going to start making his move, and he has. He's destroying the economy of the modern day Babylon. That's why they're all screaming and yelling and crying and having temper tantrums. We're going to see absolutely incredible things come to play in the next few weeks and months. That's going to change our lives forever, and our children's lives and our grandchildren's lives. We're going to be a free people for the first time ever in probably over 100 years since Civil War. And to do that, you got to break down the wicked system that we've been in. And simultaneously as that's happening, The Lord is bringing justice to bring a truth to the forefront, making sure that his children, his servants, are walking a fine line. So we're not mocking other people. We're not sinning. We're not living outside of his will. He's making sure we're living within his will so that when he hits the earth with his judgment and wrath, or as they some refer to it as the glory of God, we're not going to be in the midst of that. If we're living within his will, then we're protected. We're safe. The ones who aren't living within his will, well, pray for them because it's not going to be good. And that includes the people who did this to Mica Miller. So we're going to get our justice. We're going to get our answers. And pray for the FBI too. Pray for them to get God's insight and to, get the evidence that they need and the answers that they need to be able to have a very successful case against the people who did this to her. So if for anybody that's just joining in, I'm ending the live right now. I have got to go and put my neck brace on. But thank you for joining me. I will see you guys soon. Lots of stuff happening. God is opening the doors and opening up my eyes to a lot of things. So if any of you have heard this before, or have noticed this before, well, I'm just noticing it now. It's for some reason coming to play to me. I don't know why. Be patient with me. I'll be patient with you. We'll get to the point where we see justice. Okay. So until I see you guys again, please stay safe and God bless.